If you can't measure it, it's time to get rid of it. We'll be talking about not wasting your sales leads today, Steve. It's a big one.
Welcome back, buddy. It's been a while, the two of us on the show, You missed it?
Too many guests? Yeah, no, not too many. You can never have too many guests. No, I have missed sitting next to you, Krebsy. I think there's a certain dynamic we get sitting at this desk together. It really is.
There certainly is, old mate, and we have had some awesome guests, but, this week up here in the Gold Coast, we have had so much friggin' rain, and I know it's gone inland as well to some of the farmers and some of the areas where we really need it, so it's a great week, Lyndon.
It is a good week, and it's a perfect week to start talking about sales leads, because with any luck, especially with all this rain, you guys are going to start seeing a few more phone calls come in, a few more leads come in. So I think we really need to focus on a topic that's going to help you guys do better in 2020 by minimising the amount of waste that's coming through the business.
Yeah, and it was what you led with, It's like if you can't measure it, it's not going to go up. It's not going to grow. And we've found that one out the hard way over the years, where when you're not measuring it, you think it's going great and you're bloody chucking more money at it, you're chucking more resources at it. And it's like, hang on a sec, it's the thing that we weren't putting so much energy and effort in that was getting the results.
Exactly right. There's so many businesses out there doing that. You think, and look, it can come from so many different places. I mean, you guys could have just been doing the same thing for so long that you just keep pumping money into it and just think, well, that's the way we've done things. And this is what I want to start off talking about for today's episode. It's know where your leads are coming from and make sure you're marketing accordingly.
Yeah, well, a lot of the businesses are handed over from the dad, and from the granddad, and then, they just took it on, and these modes of communication have changed over the years, and we've talked about that on a lot of the shows, but how are you judging what's happening in that mode of communication at the time?
Yeah, that's right.
Because for us at, digital marketing, for marketplaces, it's so easy for your marketing people to log into something like SEMrush and just see where the traffic's coming from. Yeah. Has it moved? Has the trend moved? You can see the audience that was at an expo. You can see the audience when you look back through your magazine. What were they getting 10 years ago? What are they? Just check in that area first. It's going to tell you so much.
Yeah, find out where it's measurable. And like you said, SEMrush is perfect because it's third party. It's entirely independent and it doesn't discriminate at all.
Yeah.
It just shows you traffic stats. It's really good for the digital space. By comparison, if you know for a fact that most of your dollars are coming from, or most of your marketing success is coming from face-to-face work, get out there. Put your face out there. If you know that radio's working for you, fantastic. Make sure you're on radio. Do interviews, something. Make sure you're there in that space. It's all about not just knowing where people are looking, it's also knowing where it works for you as a business. So if you know what section of the market your marketing dollar is getting the most ROI, that's where you should be investing.
Yeah, well, it's the old Pareto principle. I learned that one a while ago when we started the business. The old 80% of your results comes from 20%.
It's a scary number.
Which scares the buggery out of me, especially when I got a big sales team in there and you're thinking, okay, which is the 20%? But it's the same in marketing. I mean, it's the same in everything. What is that 20%? What's the magic 20%?
Yeah.
So obviously if we can measure it, well then we know what the 20% is. I mean, we've got a guy here who's all over our SEO and he is just about that. He will not put in one thing without measuring it.
Yeah. And
he will never put in two things at once.
No, it's one at a time. It's implement, test, move on, but won't do more than one at a time.
Yeah.
And guys, there's something as well that a lot of business owners do fall into, and it's like you said, when you've inherited the business from grandpa and dad, it's that habitual marketing versus profitable marketing.
Yeah.
So many business owners out there, and hey, I'm guilty of holding bad habits. It just because you've done something for 30 years doesn't mean it's generating the same results.
Yeah.
If it's not profitable, it could very well be habitual, and you're just doing it because it's something you've always done.
Yeah, well, it's, something like AdWords. Everyone goes, oh yeah, AdWords is bringing me so many leads, spending so much money, and it is working, but then bounce rates are 75, 80%.
That's a big
It's
number.
like, yes, it's working, but a part of it's working really well.
Yeah.
Why don't you find out the part that's working really well, save yourself some cash?
Yeah, can AdWords that aren't really generating the response they should be.
Yeah.
Save your money and invest into where it really needs to go and maximise that profit.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. We're all here in business. Everyone's out there to make money. But it's all about making the job a little bit easier for yourself, working a little harder at the start, doing a little bit more research and finding out where exactly you're going to get a best return means a hell of a lot less work down the track and a much better return.
Yeah, and it's just having those key people in your business who will take the time and who are patient and who will measure. Because in the past, I think we're guilty of just chucking a heap of things at it.
Yeah.
But this person in the business is actually, now we're working smarter, and I like that, Lyndon.
So now you're getting leads, you know where they're coming from, and you know where your marketing investment needs to go. There's a way to handle your leads and handling your different types. So we're in an age now, Steve, where you're getting leads not just by someone picking up the phone or walking into showroom. You're getting a lead from somebody downloading a spec sheet on a machine. You're getting a lead from somebody sending you an email or a text message.
Yeah.
Responding in kind, I think, and I've felt in my experience in sales, and it's something that's definitely become more prevalent and obvious to me in the last 2 to 3 years, is responding in kind.
Yeah.
Makes a massive difference. And what I mean by that is, if I get an email, that's how I'm going to respond.
Yeah, I think there's a level above this, Lyndon, and it's understanding what the buyers are doing. And it's understanding that a buyer will put through, on our marketplace, 3.2 inquiries on average. So if we think of that, and I've talked about this in the last few shows, the sales team are like bloody gladiators, because someone's going to win and someone's going to lose.
Yep.
There's no prizes for second and third.
No.
So when we think of that, they have put through 3 leads. It's to you, great.
Yeah.
But put it to the competition, which is probably one of your main competition,
Someone
and then
you
put
know.
it even to your
there's a
other
third
main.
one.
Yeah. So
Well,
we've
it's an
got to
average of
think
3.
like that, which is going to produce a different outcome with our teams and how we should handle those leads.
Yeah.
So email leads, how should we handle those?
Well, with an email lead especially, I would be looking at, think of the time that you receive the email. If you're during business hours, say between, or even 7:30, 8:30 in the morning through till about 3 in the afternoon, I'd be responding as fast as possible. You've received that email during business hours, that person on the other end is expecting a pretty quick reply.
Yeah.
But conversely, if you're receiving an email outside of business hours, look, it's great if you can get to it pretty quickly as you've received it, but by the next morning, opening a business or first thing in the morning, definitely no later, that's when you want to respond. And again, it's very different for phone leads. Steve, we've been recently taught, and I know I've learnt from Peter at Sales Masters International, 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours.
4 hours.
He says it on his message.
Yeah.
He says he will get back to you within 4-hour working hours.
Yep.
So if you ring up Peter and he's not answering, you'll hear it on his voice message. Go give him a call and you'll be able to see what it actually says. But it's an interesting one because that's their perception of you straight off.
Yeah.
If you get back to them after 2 days, and one of your competition got back to them within a day or a few hours, what are they thinking? I know in the car world, in car sales.
Yep.
Those salesmen, man, they are living on it. I mean, they're paying per lead, of course.
In today's day and age,
living on it.
Yeah, and in today's day and age, I speak to so many dealers out there that talk so much about, there's no customer loyalty anymore. It doesn't matter how long I've been dealing with a person if they find a cheaper price. Unfortunately, in most cases, that's true. So if you're not quick, if you're not on the money and on the mark to get back to that lead as fast as you can muster, within reason, of course. Don't go picking up the phone 5 seconds after.
Don't look desperate.
Don't look desperate.
Don't call straight away. You're a businessman.
Yeah.
You're a busy man, Lyndon.
But beat your competition to the punch and provide value, not just in what you're selling and how you sell, but how quickly you get back to them and how you get back to them. It's really important.
Yeah.
So the big thing upon you're knowing that you're responding. Let's say you're now starting to deal with those leads, and you're getting good conversion and starting to build those conversations. And we've spoken about it heaps before, which is understanding the buying cycle.
Yeah.
But it's even more important to understand that buyer's cycle.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
We've got a rough idea in capital equipment. It's about 120 days of the buying cycle. But it changes for different companies. And I remember I was selling machinery in the woodworking industry years and years ago, and I had this company. It was Oakley and Kitchens down in Melbourne. John, big shout out if you're listening. He was buying a beam saw, and it went on for like a year and a half. And I was like, this guy's never going to buy one. I mean, I'd done so many quotes. Yes, it was a 200 grand machine, but we'd gone to, showing him through things and done demonstrations. I was like, this is never going to happen. Next minute, his machine breaks down. He wanted it that day. He was under contract. He had to produce 120 kitchens. He was going to get penalty rates. So within 2 days, we'd pulled out a beam saw, put in our one, and he was up and running.
Yeah, and after a year of work.
So understanding that buying cycle.
It's like, especially in the heavy machinery game, you guys out there in the earth-moving machinery game, construction machinery game, how many times have you had a phone call from a guy that's desperate because that morning he went to start up his excavator or his dozer and nothing happened? And he's on a job. Suddenly desperation kicks in. That 120-day sales cycle turns into 2 hours. It's all about making sure that you're aware of what that buyer needs at that given time. Their research phase may very well be 2 months.
Might be 2 years.
Before they make a final decision on which machine they want. But something can change. It can take a breakdown. It can take... I picked up 4 extra jobs and now I need 3 of those machines and I need them by next month. There's a million things that can influence a buyer's time frame to decide to purchase. So be aware of that buyer's cycle. But something that I've very much learned, especially in my last 2 years here with Machines for You, is selling to a point these days nobody wants to be sold to. People want to buy, nobody wants to be sold to. But they're more than happy to be educated on how good a product or service is. Educate your buyers. Don't sell to them. It's something that I've very much learnt and am still learning to do.
Into you a little bit because you get a bit passionate, you get a bit fired up, and you get a bit excited.
But and it comes from a place of genuine interest. The person I'm trying to help, I'm trying to provide a solution. So educating my buyers is how I speak to a lot of the clients that I look after. So it's something that can be implemented across the board. And remember that buyer has the power.
They do in this day and age. They can do the research at the drop of a hat over a weekend. They can research 5 different products, break it down to 3. You don't even know you've just been dropped out of the 5. They've done the research. Then they get into the consideration phase. You dropped out of the 3. So now you're in the 3. You still don't know because there's so much information out there. Whether they're finding it from your information here in Australia or whether they're finding it from a site in Germany about the latest, fancy CNC machine out. Comparison, then they're going to, compare you and what have you. But you've got to be putting marketing and sales education out there for those different stages.
Don't just sell them a product, provide them with multiple solutions as well. So guys, we're just about to cut to a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back with a heap more valuable information. Remember, we don't want you wasting those sales leads. We'll be right back.
What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the actual template, and that's what we're going to land on. And then what we will do is you earn your stripes. We can start to play off from there. Does that make sense? So what I'd like us to do now, let's just move on to the 1 to 10. Let's have a couple of goes at that. While that's been done, then we'll revert back to this one. 1 to 10, 10 being credit card, love it, I want to generate leads today, right now, let's go. And 1 being never, ever, ever for me for my own reasons.
Now, one question I like to ask all my future client is, after what you've just seen and what you just heard, on a benchmark of 1 to 10, where you're at. And what I mean by that, Peter, is 1 is you telling me, Sam, nothing personal, not for me, never will be, that's a 1. And 10 is you telling me, Sam, I see value in that, I'm ready to get some leads. So Peter, level with me, where are you at today?
Probably 6, I'd say.
And what do we need to do to get you from a 6 to a 7?
Great start.
Yeah, okay.
Tell me what's going to make it a 7. What's the real blocker in play here?
Fine,
You
okay.
need to say that, because I've tested it without saying that,
Yeah.
and it's profoundly different.
One of the things I like everyone to do is to give me, is to benchmark everything that they've just seen on a scale from 1 to 10. What I mean by that is a client would say to me, Lyndon, look, nothing personal, but it's just not for me. It's not that I don't have the time or anything, it's just not for me. It's never going to be. 1. A 10, Lyndon, I love it. Everything I've seen, everything I've heard, everything I know now, I want to start enjoying these new leads today. 10. So based on that, where would you see yourself sitting right now, Pete?
Probably a 6.
About a 6? That's okay, it's a good start. But Peter, what would get you to a 7? What's the real blocker at play?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Welcome back, Steel Pushers. Remember to leave your comments as well below. We do love to get your feedback. And now we're going to talk about a really important aspect of handling leads, and it's who should handle your sales leads.
I've got a question before this one.
Yeah, what's that?
Who shouldn't handle your sales leads?
Oh, I can think of a lot of people, actually. Yeah, straight off the bat of that.
But let's start with who shouldn't, Lyndon.
All right.
Daphne, love her on front desk, you know, doing a great job, but Daphne should not handle the sales leads. And I have seen it over years and years and years. The wrong person talking to someone who is inquiring about capital equipment will put you on the back foot straight away.
Yeah.
You gotta send it to your best salesperson.
Yeah, it'd be like anyone, or even myself, and I use myself as an example and the missus when I'm talking to customers about watching videos of certain products. And me,
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a guitar nut. I play them, I collect them. But one thing I like to do is, I know if I'm walking into a shop full of guitars, and the person that comes up to me trying to sell me a guitar knows nothing about them.
Forget it.
Kiss
You're out the
yourself
door.
goodbye. Yeah, see you
They spend
later.
all that energy and effort to get you in the door.
That's right.
You're out of there.
Yeah, I'm done.
People buy from people, companies, and product.
That's right. And if they
So
know the product,
if they don't like the person, whoo, you're on the back foot, or you're actually out of there. They'll go and drop you, add in one of the other ones from the research phase, bring them into the 3, and you just got dropped.
well, especially when you're dealing with a marketplace, because it's like we've spoken about before, when you're on Excavator Street, the next front door to walk in is a click away.
It's not too far away, is it?
So you've got to be very careful that the people handling your sales leads know that gear,
Yeah.
know it inside out. It's like you've said a million times, Steve. Give it to your best salespeople. If they know that machine, give them those leads.
We had a big experience of this in our finance. You know, we used to have MKP, Moody Cadell handling all our finance leads. And, you know, 75 brokers across the country, big company, been in business years and years and years. They had all the brokers handling the leads. And they were getting okay conversion.
Yeah.
They stripped it back and put it to 2 really well-trained people, good people who knew capital equipment and finance. The conversion went through the roof in comparison.
Yeah.
So that is one of the, you know, the stories I've got on that we saw a conversion change straight away.
Well, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
If the person that's speaking to the buyer knows the product or the service inside and out, they can answer all of those buyers' questions. They'll feel more at ease. They'll be less nervous to purchase. There's a million aspects that then tie into it.
Well, some of these companies are big companies.
Yeah.
You know, they're decision makers of, you know, $90 million businesses.
Yep.
And, you know, and we're being disrespectful to them by having the wrong person actually answering the lead.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
a fair point.
Yeah.
And a key thing as well is to be aware of your conversion rates. A lot of business owners out there, and even a lot of salespeople out there, like to delude themselves as to what their conversion is. I know very early in my sales career, I was like, oh no, I know I'm going to get that sale, so I'll include that in my numbers. Or that was a great conversation. They're probably going to go ahead, so I'll include
Done
that
deal,
in my
done
numbers.
deal.
Done deal.
Living
yeah.
the hopium.
Yeah, the hopium.
We've had a few salespeople through the time on that.
But it's
Wow.
not the way to go. You need to know your conversion rates, know what that lead to sale ratio is, and know it well. Because if things need to change, that's the first place you're going to see it.
Yeah.
Straight away.
In second hand, put the salesperson who listed the machine on the site, because he knows the machine the best.
Yeah.
And he will know the questions that the buyer will want to ask.
Every time.
You know, who had it, how worn is it, what is it,
How many
servicing.
hours? Yeah.
So if that machine was in Melbourne and you got a salesperson answering in Queensland, in Brisbane, he doesn't know
Doesn't have a
that
clue.
machine like the person who could have listed it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So now this is something that I've lived by for a very, very long time. We're talking going back to my first days in sales, Steve. When
Barefoot.
I used to sell ATTP mobile phone contracts door to door. That takes you back. That company went under violently, but
Not because of you.
no, of course not, mate. I killed it. But something taught to me very early on, and something that stuck with me, and it's there is no such thing as a bad lead. Now, let me clarify. I'm not talking about somebody coming up to you, handing you a lead and going, that is a dealer, and it turns out to be Joe, a farmer out the back in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
No, what I'm talking about is that every single person that says no to you doesn't necessarily mean no forever. On top of that, just because they've said no means you are that little bit closer to getting that yes. For every door that was slammed in my face, for every person that answered the door and just told me to go away, they weren't interested, it put a big smile on my face because I knew I was one door closer to that signed deal.
A lot of people don't think like this.
Yeah, and it's crucial.
I love it. I've just got that, drive and the discipline to go, cool, one step closer,
step
let's
closer.
go.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. And then even ask them, mate, it's not for you, but do you know anyone else?
Referrals. Oh, my
Referral,
God.
okay. Because they feel a bit bad. They're like, oh yeah, maybe you should call John across the road, call him, and next minute you got the right person. Then
That's
you
right.
make a sale. So sales is a numbers game.
It's important to teach this as part of your culture.
Yeah.
The sales culture, Steve, that you've grinded into us over especially the last 12 months.
Yeah.
It's this huge change. And it's a group thing. It's a mentality in the whole business because we're not a sales department.
No.
What are we?
Get more sales department. There's no such thing as marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Because we used to have that at once upon a time, and oh my God, the blaming and that negative energy in the culture, which used to drive me crazy. And it was like, oh, the marketing team's not giving us good leads, and the sales team could blame the marketing.
Yeah.
But when it's all one and it's sales marketing, it's like we.
Yeah.
And then when it moves from blaming to actually people taking ownership and teams taking ownership, you have a different culture.
Well, it's about accountability.
Yeah.
It's not just about holding yourself accountable, but everybody holding themselves accountable. We have a mentality here where it's and we were talking about it just before the episode started. When we lose a dealer, it's not just that account manager's fault or that dealer performance manager's fault. It's the guy
everyone.
at marketing's fault.
It's everyone.
It's the dude in the Philippines who does the design work for the EDMs. It's Steve's fault. It's my fault. It's everybody's fault. We are a group that work as a team to build the company. It's the same for every business out there.
Yeah.
And if you can inspire that kind of culture, everybody ends up working together to drive growth.
Yeah, well, then you don't just have a failure, you have a learning.
A learning opportunity.
And that sounds very, out there, but it's so true. If people are ducking for cover because there was failure,
Yeah.
then it brings a negative energy culture, hide, blame, put it under the carpet,
Yep.
as opposed to pulling it out and taking ownership. That's where we just keep getting these results.
It's a
been
big
cool.
difference. And that ties into what we're going to talk about finally today, which is finding the truth. This is a theme now for Machines for You at the moment.
And it hurts sometimes. Trust me, this ain't all plain sailing.
Yep.
Finding the truth. It's our theme this year. So, old mate director here has been on the phone talking to customers who, haven't renewed their membership with us, and finding the truth. And when I actually call them up and ask them about the truth, and I just want their honest feedback, they're not actually used to it, a lot of them, but they let go. They love it. And we have found out some interesting things that the guys down in systems today are building other systems just because we absolutely found out the truth from the customers.
You can't be afraid of getting some bad news. You just can't. How important, and we hear it every day in the advertising and marketing world, especially when I'm dealing with a lot of my customers and approaching new business. It's the words or the letters ROI. I want to know what my return on investment will be. But so many businesses just don't know. They have an idea. They have a bit of a figure in their head of what their ROI is, but they don't know.
Yeah, and in marketing, what is a good ROI?
Yeah.
Is it making back your money that you just spent, but you got more customers and then you spent them more money? You know, it is different for different companies.
Yeah.
But understanding your ROI, you know, it is an important part to it, because if you're spending the right money in the right area, you're going to have a better ROI, of course. But it's not just about the money, it's about the resources, it's about the people in the company, it's about the energy of them working on the right things.
That's right.
That are going to get a great result. That's what we've found anyway.
Well, you're investing in training for us here, all us sales guys in Machines for You, and the return on investment for that is us doing our jobs better, which will result in more revenue. It's as simple as that.
Happier customers.
Happier customers. It's not always about that bottom dollar line. Your ROI may very well manifest in a number of different ways. And this is what brings me to the point that I made right at the start, and I can't drive this home enough, and I was pretty proud of myself when we come up with this in the brainstorm session. But
what was it?
If you can't measure it, get rid of it. Okay?
Yeah.
If you cannot measure the return, or at least the statistics on your marketing dollar, you need to get rid of it. Because there are so many traps out there that can pull you in. You can invest all this money, and you can have a salesman turn around and tell you black and blue that it's doing wonderful, wonderful things. But if he can't show you a definitive report, if he can't provide, or they can't provide you a complete breakdown of exactly what you're getting back, get rid of it.
Yeah, so then you got to make sure you got good systems in place for the tracking of it. You know, you got to know your conversions. You got to know where those leads are coming in, and it is a challenge for small companies. You know, it's a big investment. I mean, you know, we're running a HubSpot system, over 60 grand. But for us to do the right thing for our customers, we know we've got to have a system like that in place. So with smaller companies, there's all sorts of cool things that you can actually do. I mean, geez, we used to run it off an Excel spreadsheet, Luke and myself, you know, where we used to, you know, work out things and, you know, see who were the customers who came through from those marketing concepts that we did. We didn't just go and splash money on billboards and just hope that it all jumped.
Old hopium, it's strong stuff.
Oh, yeah, you've got to be careful with the old hopium, I tell you.
So, guys, look, in summary, you need to know where your leads are coming from, and you need to kick those bad habits.
Yeah.
You know, make sure that you're aware and you're responding in kind, but don't just do something because you've always done it.
Yeah.
It's really important to grow. You know, be fluid in how you handle your sales leads. Don't just go, all right, so for every single lead we get, the way we respond is to call.
And a lot of the leads will actually tell you what you should be putting in your marketing.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually bring that up in this one, but they will say what you should be putting back in your marketing everywhere.
Yeah.
Because they say it in your leads.
But even the way they reply to you and the way they generate a lead and what they say in those leads, especially as an email, it'll even tell you how to respond. You might get an email that asks, please call me as soon as possible.
Yeah.
You know, respond accordingly. Educate your buyers rather than sell to them. Remember, we're in an
People
age
buy on emotion and justify with logic.
people don't want to be sold to anymore. They
No,
love buying.
Lyndon.
They
No.
love buying. They don't like being sold to. I mean, just think, do you love it when a door knocker rocks up? It's one of the reasons I sort of got out of that line of work back in the day. But anyway, you know, use the right people for handling your leads as well. Make sure that you're not using the wrong people. As you've
Not
said.
Daphne.
All right, and know
Right,
your conversion rates. Know what your lead to sale conversion is, and remember, there's just no such thing as a bad lead. You're always that little step closer to the next yes.
Have resilience.
Yeah.
Push
Build
on.
resilience.
Have drive. Have discipline.
And know your return on investment. And remember, if you cannot measure it, get rid of it. I love it.
You love it, eh?
Gives you
It's so
tingles.
harsh.
So, guys, look, thank you very much for joining us. On our next episode, we're going to be talking about building your brand in the market and how you're building your brand in the market.
We better get Mick Brown on this one. He knows a thing or two about brand.
So, guys, remember, we will be back next fortnight. I'll see you then, Steel Pushers. Remember, we're going to help you buy better,
Sell faster.